Becoming a millionaire. It sounds kind of like a pipe dream, right? Something for lottery winners or Silicon Valley geniuses. But what if I told you it's actually way more achievable than you think? Today, we're going to break down the actual blueprints that people use. Let's dive in. Just take a look at this number right here, 1,700. According to the research we're looking at, that is how many new millionaires are minted every single day just in the United States. That works out to over 620,000 new millionaires every year. You know, these aren't just abstract figures. These are real people hitting a massive financial goal. Which, of course, brings us to the big question. How? How are all these people actually doing it? Well, it's not magic, and it's definitely not luck. It's about strategy, it's about providing value, and it's about picking a path. And the best part is, there isn't just one way to get there, there are tons. So in this explainer, we've boiled down 16 different strategies into 4 main paths you can take: the professional grind, the creator's playbook, the founder's blueprint, and the investor's mindset. And we'll wrap things up by looking at how you can figure out which one is the right fit for you. Okay, first step, let's talk about path number 1, the professional grind. Now, this is all about using high-value skills inside systems that already exist. Yeah, it's the more traditional route, but trust me, it's as powerful as it's ever been. So within this path, there are really 2 main ways to go. First, you can become absolutely exceptional, like top 1% in a really high-paying field. Think medicine or law. The second way, which is maybe a little less obvious, is to work directly for somebody who's already incredibly wealthy. And get this, you might be surprised to learn that roughly 1 in 5 millionaires actually works for someone else. Wild, right? So what's the most accessible, high-paying skill out there? I mean, becoming a doctor or a lawyer takes years and years of super expensive school, and you usually end up with a mountain of debt. But the source material points to something different: sales. You don't need a specific degree, but the upside is huge. The top 1% of salespeople can rake in over $250,000 a year. At that rate, you could blow past the $1 million mark in just 4 years by mastering the art of the deal. Okay, so while the pro grind is about succeeding inside an established system, path 2 is all about building your own. This is the creator's playbook. It's for anyone who wants to use the incredible power of today's digital platforms to build and connect directly with an audience. To really understand the power of this path, you have to hear the story of Amanda Hawking. She was a writer, and she was facing constant, brutal rejection. I mean, every single traditional publisher out there told her no thanks. She was totally broke, but she really wanted to go to a Muppets convention. All she needed was $300. So she just decided to take matters into her own hands and self-published her rejected novels on Amazon Kindle. Her goal was super modest: just make enough cash for that trip. Well, the result was anything but modest. A month later, she'd made over $20,000. And in just 20 months, she had earned over $2.5 million from the exact same books that the experts said weren't good enough. That is the power of having a direct line to an audience. So how does this actually translate into $1 million? Well, the math is way simpler than you might think. To make $1 million in 1 year from, say, subscriptions, you don't need millions of followers. Check it out. You could have 5,000 people paying you just $17 a month, or even just 1,000 people paying $83 a month. When you break it down like this, it suddenly feels a whole lot more possible, doesn't it? Now for our third path, the founder's blueprint. This one is all about building systems that can grow and scale. Whether you're selling a physical product, a service, or, hey, even just a fantastic idea. One really popular model here is drop shipping. It's basically an e-commerce model where you act as the storefront. You handle all the marketing and the sales, but a totally different company, a third-party supplier, handles the inventory, the packaging, and all the shipping directly to your customer. So here's how it works. A customer comes to your website and buys a product for, say, $20. You then just forward that order to your supplier and pay them their price. Maybe it's $5. The supplier then ships the product right to the customer, and you keep the $15 difference. It's a model that lets you scale up like crazy with almost no overhead. But you know what? You don't even need to build a whole company. Sometimes, all you need is one great idea. Think about Lonnie Johnson, the guy who invented the Super Soaker. Instead of building a whole toy empire from scratch, he licensed his patent to Hasbro. He got a 3% royalty on every single one sold, and that deal earned him over $100 million from a single idea. And that brings us to our final path: the investor's mindset. Now, this isn't about creating new income streams from scratch. This is about making the money you already have work for you powerfully and consistently, day in and day out. The core idea here is compound interest, something Albert Einstein supposedly called the eighth wonder of the world. It's that amazing process of earning returns not just on your initial investment, but on the returns you've already made. It's like a slow but powerful snowball of wealth. So where you put your money is absolutely crucial. A typical mutual fund might get you about a 7% average return each year. But an S&P 500 index fund, which is really just a basket of the 500 biggest companies in the US, has historically averaged around 10%. That 3% difference, it might not sound like much, but over decades of compounding, it can mean hundreds of thousands or even millions of extra dollars. It is an absolutely massive difference. So there we have it. We've covered the professional, the creator, the founder, and the investor. 4 really different paths, all leading to the same destination. Now, it just comes down to choosing the one that fits you. You see, underneath all of these strategies are just a few core mindsets. There's the hustle, the drive to buy low and sell high. There's creativity, that spark you need to invent something totally new. There's a focus on value, which is just finding a problem and solving it for a customer. And finally, there's patience, the discipline you need to just let your investments do their thing and grow over time. Ultimately, making $1 million isn't a secret. It's a formula, and there are a bunch of different variations. The blueprints are out there. They've been proven over and over again. The only question left is, which one are you going to build?